Welcome to Pi International Education. In this video, I will introduce you to the GED and we'll talk a little bit about the GED exam and know more about what it is and what it has. So what exactly is the GED? The GED is a US high school equivalency test. What this means is that once you have completed your GED, you will have a US high school equivalence diploma credential. And over 60 countries around the world offer the GED to people, and more than 20 million people across the world have already given their GED exams and have gone off to the best institutions in the world for their higher studies. The GED is basically similar to other examinations that students give to complete their 12 years of schooling or 12 years of high school education. So, for example, you could have A-levels, you could have HSC, you could have many other kinds of exams that show that you've completed 12 years of education. The GED is an examination just like that, and it is given by the US for people of all different backgrounds who have done their education in different parts of the world. Now, what about the GED's requirements? Who can give the GED? Let's take a look. Anyone who is at least 16 years old can appear for the GED exam, which makes it really convenient even if you've just completed your O-levels or you've just completed your schooling. You can immediately give the GED. You don't have to have a specific degree before the GED. You just need to be 16 years old in the minimum. And there are many people across the world that give the exam at much later ages in life as well. It is open for everyone. Let's now try to understand how long it takes to get the GED certificate. Now, the good thing about the GED is that it actually takes a lot less time than many of the other high school diplomas out there. So if you want to go abroad for your higher studies and you have just a couple of months in order to prepare for it and finish up your studies, the GED is a really good option and you can quickly get it done and you can give the exam and you can get the certificate really quickly as well. When exactly are the GED exams held? Now, unlike many of the other exams that high school students give to complete their 12 years of education, the GED is very special because you can give the exam whenever you want. Yes, no matter what day of the year you pick, you can always give your GED at your own convenience. So it really doesn't depend on anything but whether you feel you're prepared enough to take the exam. All you have to do is register on the date that you prefer and you can complete your GED. Let's now understand what you have or what kinds of subjects you will get in the GED exam. So in the GED, you have 4 different subjects and each of these subjects is given as a separate exam. You will have science, you will have mathematical reasoning, which is basically your math subject. You will also have social studies. And lastly, you will have what we call RLA or Reasoning Through Language Arts. So these are the different 4 subjects that you have to complete in order to get your GED certificate. Let's take a look at each one of these subjects in turn to understand what you can face when you're giving them. Let's start with the subject mathematical reasoning. So the kinds of topics that you'll find in mathematical reasoning will include topics like basic math, geometry, basic algebra, and graphs and functions. The total amount of time you'll have to complete the exam is 115 minutes, and your format of the exam will consist of 2 parts. You'll have one part where you do not have a calculator and a second part where you are allowed to use a calculator. Now, when you think about the types of questions you might have, you could get questions such as drop downs, you could have fill in the blanks. You could also have select an area questions, and you could also have drag and drop questions. So these are the 4 different types of questions you might find in your mathematical reasoning, and these are the topics that you will be judged on in this exam. Let's move on to the next subject. In the subject Reasoning Through Language Arts, or RLA, you will be judged on the following topics: reading for meaning, identifying and creating arguments, and finally grammar and language. So in total, the time that you have for RLA is 150 minutes. Now that entire 150 minutes is broken up into the 3 sections that you have in the test, and between sections 2 and 3 you will get a 10-minute break, and you will also have an essay which will be for 45 minutes. So in total your examination lasts for 150 minutes. Between 2 and 3 you get a 10-minute break, and the essay will have a timing of 45 minutes. Let's take a look at the format of the RLA exam. The format of the RLA exam will consist of 3 sections. You will have 1 written essay which is called the extended response, and you will have different kinds of questions that could include multiple choice questions, drag and drop questions, select and area questions, and drop down questions. Let's take a look at the next subject. In the subject Social Studies, we have the topics reading for meaning in social studies, analyzing historical events and arguments, and using numbers and graphs in social studies. These are the 3 different types of topics that you will have in your social studies exam. You will be given a total time of 70 minutes for this subject, and you will have no breaks in between. Now, regarding the format, you will again have 1 section where you can use a calculator, and you also will be given a calculator reference sheet. And the kinds of questions will be similar to the ones you get in mathematical reasoning or in RLA. You will have perhaps drag and drop questions, you will have fill in the blanks questions, you will have select an area questions, and you might also get drop down questions. Let's take a look at the next subject. In the Science GED exam, you will have topics that cover reading for meaning, designing and interpreting science experiments, and using numbers and graphics in science. You will get a total time of 90 minutes with no breaks, and the format will include different kinds of questions such as drag and drop, fill in the blanks, drop downs, and select an area questions. So these are the 4 different kinds of subjects that you have in the GED exam. Let's now take a look at how the GED is scored. So every one of your GED subjects will have a total number of questions. Based on how many of these questions you answer correctly, you will get something called a raw score. So let's say that your exam has a total of 45 questions and you get 30 of them correct. So 30 will be your raw score. After you get a raw score, this raw score is then converted into a scaled score out of a total of 200 marks. So each of your exams or each of the subjects actually is scored out of 200. So how much do you need to score to pass the GED exam? You have to score a minimum of 145 out of 200 to clear or pass the GED exam for each of the subjects. And if you get a higher score of a minimum of 155 and above, many US universities will also waive some credits when you take admissions. So this is quite an advantage, and students who do really well on the GED can also get very good scholarships in many universities and colleges. And another amazing thing about the GED is that your results are available within 24 hours. So just within a day, one day, you have your results, and you can use those results wherever you're applying or for whatever purpose you need within a very short amount of time. So I hope now you've understood what the GED is and all about its details. I'll see you soon.